Hello and a very warm welcome to the Sacred Womb podcast, where we talk about all things to do with befriending our menstrual cycle, deeply healing both our feminine and masculine aspects, and how we can indeed utilise our cyclical nature as a natural spiritual pathway that's encoded within our bodies. I'm your host, Melanie Swan, and you can also go to thesacredwomb.com for more information and loads of fantastic free resources. Hello and welcome back to the Sacred Womb podcast. And thank you so much for your fantastic and detailed feedback on the last podcast, which was episode 11, How and Why to Clear Your Womb Space. And from your feedback, I've understood that it came at a really great time for some of you, and it was really effective for you as well. And I've heard about some really profound shifts actually in the outside world once you did your inner work. So thanks for giving that a go, for your listenership and for your support of the Sacred Womb podcast. I really, really appreciate it. So a quick reminder as to why I'm here, why you're listening, to clarify for those who are new to the podcast. So what we're doing here at the Sacred Womb is clearing our pathway to awaken our sacred womb. Our womb centre has a consciousness of its own, and through all our lifetimes, our childhood stuff, our build-up of fears and distortions and losing our centre, our core truth, we've forgotten that our womb is a second heart, really. It can pulse, it can guide us, and it does have a consciousness of its own. And we might get mistaken with thinking we have to do some things to awaken this centre. And actually, we don't. It's kind of similar to the Kundalini as I understand it. It's there anyway, and it's an energy that will rise and awaken once we have swept the path clear enough. And this path, what I mean by this path is fear-based stuff that we've collected along the way. So that's why I talk and will talk more a lot about healing, and that's why we focus on healing in the Moon Lodge as well, because once we come back to ourselves and we clear the fear-based charge in our body and shift our perspective of what's happened with us in our lives, this sweeps the path clear. It's like sweeping leaves off a path. It reveals our sacred womb. Our sacred womb can breathe. It has space in our body, and it will naturally awaken. One way we're going to do this is to live in harmony with our menstrual cycle. And a lot of us are in pain or have been in pain at some point with our periods. And this pain's really a calling into our body. And we can use this cycle as a pathway of growth and expansion. And of course, we all came with that. As women, we embody the feminine, and we came with this spiritual development system encoded within our bodies. And of course, if we're cut off from our womb and cycle with taboos, with pain, with our perception, then we're cut off from our seat of power. We're cut off from our natural spiritual pathway. So, great. A reminder of why we're here. I hope that's nice and clear. And one more thing before we get started on this topic this week is that you can send in your questions. Just go to thesacredwomb.com/podcasts, and you will see on the right hand side submit a question, and I will cover that topic. I will aim to cover as much as I can that's sent in. Okay. So ladies, this week's topic is restoring our feminine, our divine feminine, our true feminine nature. So I'm going to talk about this and give you some practical examples, and stay tuned till the end where I'm going to give you a practical exercise that will help you again clear the pathway to restoring your true feminine nature. Okay, so there is a great deal of focus to awaken the divine feminine. seemed to have been rising for the last 5-10 years. And now I feel we're at a sort of critical mass where red tents, moon lodges are popping up in places and online. And there's websites, there's books, there are workshops, there's women doing their work. We're doing our work. Social media is kind of getting used to talking about periods. And indeed, sports personalities are talking about that now, so that's fantastic. So really awakening our divine feminine in any way, be that our menstrual cycle, our intuition, our cyclical nature, it's all essential to own so that we can progress our collective consciousness, to bring back into balance the very foundation of our being. And I wanted a little note here to say, like, as the feminine has been out of balance, the masculine is naturally out of balance as well. It's not like men or the masculine have had it easy. So we're all out of balance. However, as women, if we focus on just one aspect of ourselves, this is going to limit us, as it will keep us polarised. So if we're concentrating on restoring our feminine nature, what about our masculine nature? And by that I mean our divine masculine nature, our divine feminine nature, our true nature. Because if we're just owning one part, then we're still out of balance. And in fact, my experience of this is we can't restore our feminine without reclaiming our masculine. It just doesn't work. You may have tried this on yourself. It's like trying on a coat, being soft and feminine and all those things that we lead with, intuitive, emotional, and it's okay. I have to say I didn't get much done when I was really polarising into my feminine nature. Felt quite lovely, quite floaty. I felt very silky in a way. I was really following my intuition, but with little structure and little oomph. It was slightly ungrounded. So I'm glad I tried that because I needed to really see what that would do, and it just kept me polarised. And I know a lot of the tantric community focus on this. Again, this is just not wrong. It's just we have been one way with the pendulum. We've swung right one way by being, as women, just really disempowered, burnt as witches. We haven't even got equal pay. That's just like, it's 2016. It's really bizarre. And we're only just realising that actually every woman needs some sanitary products of some kind. I mean, I kind of bleed naturally, actually. I don't tend to use pads anymore, but like most women, we need some sanitary products and they should be free and they shouldn't even be taxable. So, okay, it's just, we're still way, way out of balance. Anyway, back to the subject. So, when we just focus on our feminine nature, it is really important. We have to come back to balance, but yes, this creates a polarization. So what is created is a yearning within us for our opposite. So that we can feel whole, understandably. And we often project this onto men. We can often think, oh, I just want a man, or a woman who more embodies more of a masculine nature. And we've got this yearning, and there might be a feeling of not feeling complete or waiting for one's life to start, or if only I could get a guy, or this, then I would be all right. And it's really incredibly disempowering, because what we're doing is expecting a man to kind of rescue us or come and make everything okay. And whilst we may not be consciously thinking that, that's really what we're saying. Please be with me and make me feel whole, make me feel okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a relationship. I'm recently married myself, and I'm not saying that we can't heal each other and bring each other to balance, because we totally can work towards that. We can work with that. But it's not somebody else's job to make us whole. So really, if we've got this yearning within and this polarization and we're disowning our masculine nature, this is going to affect the way we see and create and experience our world. Because often when our masculine nature is projected, polarized, we can be kind of jealous. It can kind of create a jealousy with men and more projections, and there can be a tendency to sort of hate the patriarchy and blame the patriarchy for our current disempowerment, which is an absolute load of crap. When we think something about something, i.e. the patriarchy, we hate it, let's say, we despise it, down with the bloody patriarchy, we're feeding it. Our thoughts are going into that collective consciousness. So the first thing we must do to reclaim our masculine in order that we can restore our feminine is to realize that we have co-created the current situation in our world as women. So what I wanted to talk about briefly now is a distorted masculine nature. And I really want you to think about this as you're listening. Like, are men really like they're portraying themselves generally? I'm not talking about some individuals who are more awakened now. I'm on about the distorted patriarchal system that's been our dominant way of living for a while. It places an emphasis on knowing, hierarchical structure, power over, external authority. And really what I've experienced is this is not the true masculine nature at all. So far from it. It's so far from it. And I'm speaking from experience here because I did get my own masculine nature back. Actually came back to me a few years ago. And that's why I can talk to you about this topic, because I'm speaking from experience and that's the only way I work. So, yeah, men in particular have embodied this distorted masculine nature. And some women, of course, in an attempt to be equal with men, have also embodied this distorted masculine. I can particularly remember I started off working in business and marketing in my early 20s, and I properly power dressed. I really did, and thought I needed to put my emotions to one side and just be like, business, business, business. Yeah, it's just so hard and cutthroat. Which, honestly, I just look back and know that I needed to experience that, and out of that experience, I've learned. But I really have a little chuckle at myself as I look back at my shoulder pads and that way of being. It was very, very tiring. So if we as women are trying to embody the distorted masculine, not the true masculine, the distorted masculine, it can show up as we're going to push through our cycle. So when that time comes before our period, when we're going internal, our world's shifting, our senses become heightened, we might think, oh, not this again. Oh, I want to be able to perform. I want to be able to do this and that. I don't want to rest. I don't want these cramps. And we might push through that. We might be busy through it, and we miss one of the most golden opportunities we've been gifted as women. We might ignore our intuition over cognitive logic, or so perceived logic. We might take on too much and burn out because we haven't got our divine masculine nature, our whole self, supporting us and sustaining us. And we can have problems earning money and sustaining ourselves and really taking care of ourselves financially as well. And we can also want to plan and know everything. Because really, I got told about 3 a.m. one morning that the feminine is the unknown. And that's it. Spirit told me about 3 a.m. the feminine is the unknown. It's the unknown aspect of creation. So, how do we restore that, ladies? How do we get back to that? We reclaim the very thing that we think we're not. We reclaim our true masculine nature. When that energy comes back, I can tell you it is such a relief. It's a crystalline phallus. It comes back, it actually came back into me as this beautiful crystalline phallic energy. And it just goes up the core and lights up the chakras. Not in one magical day where suddenly one is united, but it did come back into me and is readily working its way through my system, through my cells. And my feminine nature just took a massive sigh of relief. Oh, there you are. It was a not so much a sexual feeling, but there was a sensation in my yoni, in my vagina, in my womb, right into my stomach, my heart and through my core. Oh, and for about 3 days I just felt so relaxed, supported, unified. And the overall feeling was, there you are. Oh, satiated, satisfied. And then, of course, it started pushing out all that was not true about the masculine, about my true masculine nature. And that's still working its way through. I also wanted to just speak to you briefly that there have been few role models in the public eye and in stories and legends for women to look to realise that this is possible. So we've been really cut off from it, and this is nobody's fault. If we blame the patriarchy, if we blame men, we just make ourselves more stuck and we feed that consciousness. So it's very important to just accept where we are. Just take a breath and accept that is where we've got to right now. Oh, okay. And when we accept, okay, I've fed that. I've had something to do with it. Even if you're not clear how or where or when or why, doesn't matter. Being able to take responsibility that, yeah, I have contributed to this state of collective consciousness, and I can do my bit. You know, when we take responsibility, we can actually change ourselves, and that is going to have a knock-on effect on the collective. The last thing I want to talk about, and probably is the most painful or the nearest to us, is that a lot of women of certainly my generation, older and a bit younger, have an often distant, absent or difficult relationship with our fathers, because our fathers are embodying a distorted masculine. Okay, they haven't got so many awakened role models either, and so they're in a pickle too. So when we've had a difficult relationship with our fathers, it can be very difficult in a way to look at that and go, I want that back. but know that it's distorted. And the divine masculine nature is very supportive from the inside out, is very sustaining, is very clear, gives a supportive structure from the inside that facilitates the softness, the cyclical nature, that supports intuition, that stands strong like a rock, whilst the feminine whirls around and creates chaos in order that our illusions are dissolved. So, ladies, it is possible to heal our relationship with our true masculine nature. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it made some sort of sense for you. I hope that when you put your hands on your womb, you're able to feel whether or not that is true. Because I don't want you to just listen to me and believe what I'm saying. I want you to test it. I want you to pull it apart. I want you to experience it for yourself, because it's the only way you're going to awaken. Nobody can do that for you. And the last thing I want to say about when we get our masculine nature back, it also activates our sacred womb center. But I'll be talking about that more on a different podcast and in a book I am currently writing. But I'll tell you more about that in a few podcasts. So your exercise to help you implement this in your life and clear the path to your divine masculine nature is to just sit quietly, feel your body, feel your energy body. Use your breath to just sink into yourself and sense your projections and expectations onto men. Just feel any messages. Men are like this. Yeah, but my father was like that. My experience of men is always this. Guys are always that. The masculine's about this. And with each one, I want you to feel energy coming from you to wherever it's going. And just with your breath, start to breathe back your own energy, just your own energy, not taking anyone else's. Just feel that belief. I know it's probably based on experience as well, but feel the belief experience. Feel your projection that's continuing the distorted masculine, your distorted masculine. Take a deep breath. Breathe your own energy back in at the same time and just drop it. Just relax and see what happens. Please do use the Sacred Womb private Facebook group to give feedback, to interact with like-spirited women who are doing their work. The only way you're going to do this is to do your work and clear the fear. There's not some magical spiritual exercise to get this back. Clear your fear, do the work, and it will come back. And you do have a place to feedback on this. Obviously, as I said before, feedback in the Sacred Womb private Facebook group. I do check in there. So, and if you want to ask me a specific question, just tag me. And of course, if you want to go deeper, if you're hungry for more and you actually want to work with this consistently, get direct support from me, be with a community of women who are into this and living it, then come join us in the Moon Lodge. That's our focus at the moment. We are doing the Reclaiming the Divine Masculine Medicine Bundle. The link to the intro video of that is below this podcast, so take a look at that. I've made it really, really affordable. It's $29 a month at the moment. It's going up next year. So the price you join at is the price you'll always pay. So if you want to get in now, join us and let's get going with some of this potent womb work. Any questions about that, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, I will see you next time for episode 13. I really hope you enjoyed the podcast and that you got some useful tips out of it that can make a genuine difference in your daily life. And if you'd love to work deeper with this stuff, then do head on over to thesacredwomb.com, where you can sign up to receive the weekly newsletter and an invite to our private Facebook group, where you can share, learn and grow with like-minded women in a safe, supported space. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do leave us a rating, and your comments are very, very welcome. And I'll see you next time.